Well, we now continue our weekly Land Report segment with the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers, bringing you timely updates on land use and value with top rural property professionals. President of the group, Mark Peterson, joins us now for an update. Mark, thank you so much for being here, as always. You know, we got to talk about the interest rates. I mean, everybody kind of keeping an eye on what the feds are going to do, but how is that impacting the industry?
Well, Suzanne, thanks for having me on again. The long-term interest rates are up from around 5.5% last year at this time to around 7.75%. As a result, loan volume is down, with many buyers paying cash or coming into purchases with 1031 tax-deferred exchange funds.
You know, I want to switch gears here. I want to talk about the current crop conditions where you are, looking like in the Carolinas and Virginia's region. Can you tell us about that?
Well, we've had pretty good growing conditions this year. This is probably one of the mildest summers I can remember, my short time here in North Carolina. We have good topsoil and subsoil and moisture levels due to adequate rains we've received during the season. There's very little of the area that is abnormally dry, unlike a lot of the United States. Of course, last week, NOAA increased its outlook for the remaining 2023 hurricane season from near normal to above normal hurricane activity, which could impact harvest conditions in the future. You know,
speaking of harvest conditions, projected corn harvest dates?
Yeah, they just started last week in South Carolina harvesting corn. They only have about 5% of the crop harvested. In North Carolina, about 11% of the crop is mature, with harvest expected to begin in about 2 weeks.
You know, in your last interview, you had mentioned when we talk about land values remaining strong around urban areas, we're talking about Charlotte and Greensboro, Raleigh, Durham. What kind of challenges does this create for producers?
Yeah, it's created quite a bit of challenge, quite honest with you. Over the past 10 years, North Carolina, South Carolina, and that Virginia, the collective area, has grown by 2 million people to almost 25 million. This growth has brought increased demand for housing and commercial development, often resulting in some of the best farmland being taken out of production agriculture to fill this need. As a result, North Carolina is second in the nation behind Texas in the projection of the loss of farmland to development. It's estimated that 1.5 million acres out of the state's 8.3 million acres farmed, or about 18%, will be lost to development over the next 15 years. So not only are producers vying for land at costs well above their earning capacity, but they are also looking at a shrinking amount of farmland available for production agriculture.
This is heartbreaking. You know, we say it again and again. They're not making any more land. Mark, anything that can be done to combat this trend?
Yeah, some of the government officials are working on trying to preserve some farmland, but that takes legislation. And as a result, it requires funds to do that. And of course, as land values increase, it requires more funds. So it remains to be seen if they're going to get anything done on that.
Oh, thank you, Mark. I always appreciate you being here. President of the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers, that's Mark Peterson.